Hello, good evening. My name is Dennis and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be doing my classic watercolor, at least for this channel, classic content for the past few months now. And today I'm thinking, well, in a bit of a abstract kind of a way. I'm not feeling like doing anything too realistic or structured, although I guess there is some structure in the form of an underpainting going on right away. Doing it with my ultramarine and filling out as much as I can of the page, starting with one solid color and going edge to edge, corner to corner, trying to not make a mess on the desk as I splatter a little bit on the sides there, but you know, going to fill as much as I can. Something that I really want to try going forward for my watercolor paintings is to really make sure that I have every square inch of the page covered in paint, unless I'm intending to keep an area white, like for light, or I'm not sure why I would keep plain paper, but maybe just to show that it's, you know, paper that I'm working with here. There are some methods, like think of like throwing salt or sand on the watercolor paper will prevent the absorption of the water, like the salt will absorb the water instead, and that's a way to kind of add some whiteness as well. One way that I use sometimes is just blotting. If there's a bit too much pigment, a bit too much watercolor, I can always use a rag or a paper towel to just scoop up some of the water and kind of do like an erasure. But now that I've covered the page, although looking back now, I feel like I missed that corner on the bottom left there, but can go right over it with this yellow now, hitting it with cadmium medium, and immediately trying to mix it as like a wet on wet into a bit more of a green color, but there are a lot of areas that I didn't add quite enough blue to get it to start mixing, so as it stands, it sort of dries into what it is, and it kind of stays a bit of a yellow rather than a green, I'd say. Next color in is red. Going in with some big strokes of the French vermilion, actually, but red on top of the yellow and the blue. These are all the primary colors here, so really we can make a whole rainbow here, just these colors. And as I add water and things start to blend, it becomes kind of a layering effect of these colors blending into one another. But it does take a little bit of actual pigment and water to get that process started. If I just leave it as is, it's gonna just continue to spread out a little bit, but it's not gonna blend so much as if I were to go in with the paintbrush and follow it up like I am here with now going in with a lighter yellow, trying to get some bright marks, and I feel like I've already developed a bit of a focal point in the center of this, what do I want to call it? It feels like a large flower right now, with like these little petals going all around it. I feel like I'm even emphasizing a little bit right now, but as I go in with the finer brush, making some detail lines, and I feel like this abstract goes more into natural kind of symbolism, more of the vines, flower petals, and leaves, than my more figure kind of abstracts with like eyes and arms and those kinds of things. In fact, I feel like part of this here is more like looking through the trees into a crazy different world, like a fantasy world. That's sort of what I'm building here, at least in my imagination, or what I'm creating here. But do let me know in the comments how you feel about this painting, if you envision anything in the colors and the marks that are being put down here. I'm always delighted to read the comments and see what kind of interpretations people have of the paintings, because really, like, I have one way I'm thinking about it now as I'm looking back on the process. I had another way that I was thinking about it when I was actually in the process. So I am definitely thinking differently now as I'm sort of reacting to that process and those thoughts that I had. You can see that blue instantly followed up with the yellow. I'm making a bright green that was taking over the right side of the painting. And I don't know, I feel like with this painting I'm really trying to play with the colors more and really try to get higher saturation going, even though I'm using more color and I'm using a lot of water here. I'm not using the ox gall in this painting, just because I want a little bit more control over the line still, because I think the ox gall is as cool of an effect as it has. It does tend to make the watercolor a bit less controllable in how it's going to spread, and that's fine. It has its use. In this painting, I feel like I want more sharp lines and kind of forms of the marks and colors than what I was getting in my last painting 2 weeks ago. Video 2 weeks ago now, with a bit of ox gall going on. And here I'm making my own favorite little color here, mixing some blue and some red, making a purple. I rarely mix my own colors on the palette. I feel like I really rarely see myself do that, and I think the reason why is just I prefer wet on wet and just straight mixing onto the painting. But sometimes it is required for a consistent color like this to kind of pre-mix it so that I can have it on tap for the painting, because I feel like it's important when I add a color, like a whole color like this, that's sort of, it's using a mix of the colors that I've already got in here, but because it's a separate color, I do want to incorporate it all over the painting if I can. Just sort of feeling out little spots, like putting it up at the top and making almost what feels to me like storm clouds on the top, and I guess that becomes the sky in that case. But I'm putting some focus in the middle of the painting. That is sort of the obvious kind of focal point for a painting, right? The very center of it is the eye can draw in, and hopefully look inside first and then work your way around, and there's something interesting at each corner of the painting. That's the goal. But I can't control everybody's eyes. I'm just trying to control how my eyes see this. And for me, it starts in that very bright, saturated yellow, then goes a little bit to the right with those fancy strokes, and then that column brings me up, and then I kind of go in a circle all around. Yeah. I feel like I'm reaching the end of this painting now. Just some last touches I feel like are mainly to do what I said before of making sure that as much of the painting has covered the paper as possible, minimizing any canvas basically that's showing. In the top area, there is a few areas that are a bit lighter, a bit white, and those are from the initial underpainting rather than the canvas itself. That said, there are sometimes little dots and things that show up in these paintings, because I think that as they dry, depending on the watercolor, depending on brand, I would think it would be different. But with these watercolors, I've noticed that they do tend to shrink just a little bit. So as it dries, the water will absorb into the paper, and sometimes it pulls into it and doesn't fully cover all the areas. So at least a few dots, especially on this kind of rough watercolor paper. But that's why I like to go back in, and as I finish, make sure that I've covered those with pigment. Yeah, with that, I believe that this painting is complete. It's still a little wet as I'm picking it up to show it off, but that's fine. It's just a part of it, and sort of the red blending in with the blue. Yeah, please let me know what you think in the comments below. You know what to do with the YouTube stuff. If this is your first time here, please subscribe. I release a new video every week on Friday. And if you like the video, please give it a like. If you dislike it, give it a dislike so I know I can work on it and try to improve things. Yeah, thank you once again for watching. I hope you have a lovely weekend. I guess a lovely Valentine's Day as well, if you're doing things for that. And hope to see you next week. Peace.